All right, the update on the Mr. Cool system is it's been put on hold, probably until tomorrow, because I drove all around the state of North Carolina yesterday looking for the type of wire to hook this thing up. Nobody had it. It's like a national shortage. I had to order it. It'll be here tomorrow. We'll pick this back up tomorrow. But no need to worry. We've got plenty of things to talk about. John, why are you wearing a fancy shirt? That's one of the things we're going to talk about. One of the great things about doing a vlog like this is I'm doing videos every single day. And if I say something that's wrong or didn't come out the right way, I can fix that immediately, and that's cool. I was reading through comments today from last Wednesday's video, and I realized I said some things in that video that might have made you think I was doing something that I was not. In that video, I was testing out some new ways of shipping fish. And I showed you one of those padded envelopes laying on the ground that I left outside, seeing how the temperature would be affected. And then I also had one in a box. And I told you in that video, I'm testing out new shipping techniques. And a lot of people commented, hey, it seems a bit risky to ship a fish in a padded envelope like that, and that's it. That is not what I was testing out. I never intended and never would intend to wrap up a fish in one of those padded envelopes and send that through the mail. No. What I did in that test was I wanted to see the difference that just the padded envelope would have versus the box. And that test was successful. My intention of using those envelopes is to put them inside of a box and ship the fish that way. Not just the fish in the envelope. That would be horrible. So just to be clear, what I would be doing is taking a fish, like this one here, putting it inside this envelope, sealing it all up, there's our insulation, and then putting it inside of a box. That is the true test that I was doing. The only reason I did the two separate like that was to see the difference in temperature, the effect that it would have on the temperature. I wanted to see if this was by itself exposed to the elements, how different would that be versus being wrapped up in paper and put into a cardboard box. So sorry I wasn't clear about that in that video. I just want you to know I was never considering wrapping this thing up and shipping you a fish like this. No, that'd be a good way to end a career real fast. All right, let me explain why I'm wearing this Northfin Fish Foods shirt. First of all, I'm wearing it because they were nice enough to send it with the big, huge order that I put in with them a few weeks ago. That was very nice of them to do that. And they had sent it with the hopes that I would wear this shirt at Aquashella. But I said, hey, listen, people are expecting me to show up to an event like that wearing a black shirt because that's what people are going to recognize me in. So I can't wear this, but I can wear it in a video like this where it just so happens that I want to talk about Northfin Fish Foods. There's a few things that are really, really important to me that I think will be important to you, and it'll make sense why I have become so completely obsessed over this company. Has nothing to do with money. They are not paying me anything to talk about their product. It is very simple. I love the product, and I want to share with you things that I love about it because I'm no mind reader, but I feel like the reasons why I love this company, you're going to love them too. Now, look around. You see what I'm working with here, okay? I'm working out of a barn in my backyard. I'm very blessed to be able to do that. I'm not complaining about it, but the reason why I bring that up is because Lisa and I are a small business. We're out here just trying to do our thing, trying to grow our business, trying to reach as many people as possible. When I was first introduced to Northfin, almost 10 years ago now, Jay Wilson is the one that introduced me to them. I thought probably the same thing you think. This is a huge company. They're big like Hikari. They're everywhere worldwide. And this is just another one of those huge brands. But I could not have been more wrong. Northfin Fish Foods is a very similar company to Lisa and I. It's a bigger company than we are, but the fact that it is a family-run operation, run out of a small warehouse in Canada, they're not doing it out of their backyard. They started that way in the garage, but again, another similarity to us, but now they do have a warehouse in Canada that they're making their fish food out of and sending it out all over the world. So that was one of the first things when I learned that. I said, oh, wait a minute. This sounds a lot like Lisa and I. It's a mom and pop operation. These people are just trying to build their business and do the right thing, reach as many fish keepers as possible. That's us. That's awesome. I love it. It's a husband and wife that are doing this. And when I heard that, it instantly perked my ears up like, oh, let me hear more. When I heard more, I realized, wow, this is even more like us, because their approach to this is we're going to give the best product to our customers, whatever the cost. And this is something that I have implemented in my business. Sometimes I lose money on a customer's order because I have to do what's right. Maybe they ordered a plant and the only plant that we have left that they ordered is in really bad shape or something. I might email them and say, hey, listen, this plant is not good. I'm probably going to get another one in a couple of weeks, but for now, do you want to swap this out for something else? I don't care if the plant that you choose is twice the cost. Let me know. I'll ship you that one instead. Sometimes you have to do that. You have to take a hit to make the customer happy because that's what's going to make them want to come back and support a small business like this. Northfin is the same way. We are going to give the best product no matter the cost. And nowhere is that more prevalent than the ingredients that they use to manufacture their fish food. It's very different from everyone else. So let me tell you a little bit that I've learned about the manufacturing process of fish foods. I've never done this myself. This is just something that I've learned from talking to fish food manufacturers. So when you look at the ingredients list on fish foods, you're going to see the word meal a lot. Krill meal, salmon meal, this meal, that meal. What that is those things like salmon ground up into its finest form, and then that ground up material, the meal, is sent to the manufacturers, which they then put that along with a bunch of other ingredients. They mix it all together. They put it into a machine called an extruder, and it poops out a bunch of fish food pellets. Now, those ingredients that make up those meals are absolutely critical for the health and the benefits to the fish and all of that in these fish foods. There are a lot of fish that are used regularly in fish foods, like tilapia, salmon, things like that. Krill is another one that is widely used, including from Northfin. But that's some of the most kind of like commonly used fish meals out there, and they're all great. I'm not going to sit here and poop on another company. They're great. But Northfin did it differently. They chose whole Antarctic herring and sardines. It sounds like I'm reading this from a book. I'm not. I'm standing here talking to you. I'm not reading it from a book. But the reason why they chose those is very simple, and I have to use a really weird analogy. Let's use a little bit of common sense, okay? If we were going to turn me into a meal, meaning put me in a machine, grind me up into a small powder, and use that for things that would be very weird, and I would question your sanity if you were going to do that. But you grind me up, you get this John meal that comes out. Think about the difference that there would be if you did the same thing. The best person I can use as an example would be Tanner Serpa. He's a good friend of mine. Tanner's a couple inches taller than me, and he also weighs probably 75 pounds less than me. If you ground Tanner Serpa up into a Tanner meal, the John meal and Tanner meal are going to be very different. Why? Mine is going to contain a lot more meat. And I didn't mean for that to sound weird. It's going to contain a lot more fat. It's going to contain a whole lot more stuff than Tanner's meal, which is going to be basically skin and bones. And don't take that as an insult, Tanner. I'm jealous of that. Tanner is a very fit, very tall, very not like me kind of guy. It's weird that people can be offended by being called thin anymore, but I don't think Tanner would be offended by that. It's pretty much common sense. You put me next to Tanner. Which one's going to have more meat? Which one's going to have more fat? I don't think it's going to take a genius to figure that out. So you have those two ingredients. You have the John meal, you have the Tanner meal. Which one is going to have more to offer to whoever is making food out of that? Obviously, it's going to be me. Now, Tanner's would be a lot healthier and a lot leaner, but it doesn't contain the same things that mine does. Tanner would have a lot more bones and things like that ground up because the amount of meat and flesh and muscle, well, he probably has more muscle than me because he's a lot younger than me, but you understand what I'm saying. The volume of meat compared to bone would be vastly different in Tanner than it is me. I would have way more fat, way more everything, but the same amount of bones. Am I making sense here? The two meals that are created would be very, very different. Now, in the topic of meals, when you look at the ingredients, you're going to see something that's called ash. And what that means is when they grind up those fish, it's everything. It's the eyeballs, it's the bones, it's all of that. The stuff that is not meat and proteins and things like that would be considered ash. Like I said, hair, bones, things like that. Is there hairy fish? But you understand what I'm saying. It's everything else other than the meat and the protein and the muscle and I'm not an expert at this. I'm just trying to make it make sense. You understand what I'm saying. The ash content from my meal would be a lot lower than Tanner's. Why? Because the ratio of bone to meat in Tanner is very different. He's going to have a lot less meat than I am because look at me. I'm a man of meat. This is really starting to sound weird, but I hope you understand what I'm saying. We are very different in what we bring to the meat grinder. I've always considered myself to be somebody that's good at coming up with analogies. This one got really weird really fast, and I apologize about that, but hopefully you understand what I'm saying here. The same thing applies to fish. You have a fish like a Antarctic herring, which has a very low ash content compared to something like a carp, which is going to have a lot of bone and a big giant skull and all of these things that the herring does not have. So when you grind up that herring into a meal and then put it in an extruder and make a pellet out of it, there's going to be a lot more protein, a lot more good, valuable sources in there. The ash content is going to be a lot lower versus if you used a Tanner Serpa type fish, it's going to have a lot more ash because there's not as much meat there. There's not as much protein source there. There's a lot of bone and a lot of, well, he has hair that I don't have and all of that. You understand what I'm trying to say. So the Antarctic herring and sardines have a lot more valuable content in that meal than some of the other fish out there have. I've spent way too much time on this. I hope it all makes sense. Now, because that herring and those sardines have a lot more valuable content in them than other fish do, that comes at a cost. And this is the next thing that I absolutely love about this company. Goes back to what I was saying before. Sometimes you have to take a bit of a hit to do the right thing. They do not care that these products cost a little bit more to manufacture because they're using the right products. They're using the right ingredients. The owner of this company is absolutely adamant about that. I am not going to sacrifice quality to save a couple dollars on a ton of this meal. I'm going to get the right stuff. I'm going to put the right things together. I'm going to make the right food, even if I make less money on each bag. Now, the next thing that I absolutely love about this company, and again, it's something that I can relate to, is that, as I said earlier, it is a mom and pop operation. It's a family run operation. They have other employees, but it is run by a family. And they're not sitting behind a desk doling out commands to their fleet of employees. No, they're in the trenches doing the work. In fact, the machine that makes Northfin pellets, the machine that they put all of those meals into and all of those beautiful ingredients and that goes and poops out all of those fish pellets, that machine was made by the owner. It was designed and built by the owner of Northfin Fish Foods. And guess what? It's also operated every single day by the owner of Northfin Fish Foods. He's not sitting behind a desk. No, he's getting those ingredients, putting them into the extruder machine and operating the machine. He's the guy that's making all of this stuff happen. One of the things that I know, because I've had so many people come up to me in public and say it, is we've made a connection with you on your YouTube channel. We watch you all the time and we feel like we know you. And it's that connection that makes us want to order from your website. And the fact that we know that it's you or it's Lisa that are packing the orders, that makes it even better. It kind of develops that connection that we, John and Lisa, have with you. Well, it's the same thing here. It's the owner of the company, the one that came up with all of the ingredients. He came up with the ingredients to put together. You understand what I'm saying? He's not out there grinding up herring. I mean, but he took the ingredients, he put them all together. He came up with the right formula, and he is the one that's making this fish food. When you open up a bag of Northfin fish food, it is his hands that operated the machine that made that food. I don't know about you, but that is huge to me. Now, I've said it hundreds of times at this point. I am not one of those people that poo-poos on big brands. Big brands like Hikari and stuff like that. Oh, they're so big. They've lost touch. No, I don't think that at all. I love Hikari. We sell a lot of Hikari on our website. I am not somebody that, again, poo-poos the big companies. However, when I can find a company that is very similar to Lisa and I, in that the owners of the company are in there, they're doing the work. They're the ones that are grinding every single day to build this company into what they're hoping it can become someday. That's huge for me. I mean, that's something that develops a connection with me that can never be severed. I mean, I absolutely eat that stuff up and I love it. So when I heard all of those things, I said, you know what? I thought this brand was awesome before, but now, oh, it's so different. But it's not just all that. I mean, it's not like I like the people, therefore I like the product. No, it's not like that. I mean, that is true. However, I was selling Northfin Fish Foods 8 years ago on our website. I've loved their product forever. That's never changed. But when I learned more about the company, including some other things that I haven't talked about that I don't think would be right to talk about, situations that they've had within their family, losing family members. I don't want to talk about that publicly because that's their business, but that too was another one that hit me really hard and said, wow, you know, I'm connecting with these people that I've never even met. And the beautiful thing about it is I already loved their product. So it just made me love the product even more. And listen, this is not all some kind of fantasy situation where my bias, because I like this company, makes me like the product. No, as I said, I'm repeating myself. This is why I like to work off of a script. I liked the product before I knew anything about the brand. The product absolutely speaks for itself. A good product is a good product. And when you have the story behind the brand and you connect with that brand the way I have, of course, you're going to sell it. Of course, you're going to wear the shirt. Of course, you're going to go to Aquashella in Dallas and give away as much of this food as you can because you want people to see that this is an amazing brand run by amazing people. Now listen, folks, we've talked a lot about ingredients. We've talked about the people behind the brand, but the biggest thing is you have to try this brand for yourself. And let me tell you, this is a fact. When you receive your first package of Northfin Fish Foods, you're going to open that package and instantaneously you're going to say, oh, this is something different. I carry a lot of different foods. I don't carry any foods that I wouldn't consider to be great. I love Extreme. I love Seachem. I love Hikari. None of those companies have, I just opened up a brand new thing of tropical sticks. None of them have what this brand has. When you open it, I don't even know how to describe it. It's not like I want to eat this stuff, but it doesn't smell like any other fish food out there. I don't know about you, but there's kind of like a generic fish food smell. Like cat food. All cat food smells the same. Fish food's the same way. Until you get to this. When you open the package up and you get that first whiff of it, you're like, oh, this is different. And it's different in a good way. And your fish are going to be the same way. Your fish are going to absolutely love this. They are going to enjoy the food. They're going to be aggressively going after this food. And because of the ingredients that they use in the food, because they spare no expense when it comes to the ingredients, and because it is them, not a company that they've outsourced to, but it's them that put these ingredients together to make sure everything is right, and they put it all in the machine, and they are the ones that are packaging. I've got video of the owner's son packaging this stuff. I mean, there's no doubt they're putting their heart and soul into this. And when you open up that package, you're going to understand why. And when you feed it to your fish, you're going to understand why. I really didn't want this to turn into an infomercial, I promise. I just wanted to talk to you about fish food today. And Northfin is something that we just did a huge stock up of. I hope that it makes a whole lot of sense. And I hope that you can see the excitement that I have for this brand. I'm excited about the other brands too. Trust me, we sell a ton of Extreme. I've been promoting Extreme since 2013. That's been, I mean, it's been a staple for me. Extreme, I love that. I love the owners of the company, the whole story behind it, all of it, I love. And I will never change the way I feel about that brand. But they're not the only brand. This one I love too. I love so much. And I really wanted to share that with you to make you understand why I love the brand. It's your choice whether or not you want to buy their products or not. I think you should. I think you should try it out. But I just didn't want to just say, I feed my fish this, they love it, and therefore you should buy it. I wanted to explain to you why I feel the way I do about it. And look at me. I'm a sweaty mess right now because I'm so animated talking about this. I love the brand. I think you will too. This is why we put the biggest order we've ever put in for fish food with them, because I just believe in it. And I feel like anybody that tries this brand is going to feel the same way. So I thought I'd share that with you. I'm going to stop rambling.